All right, ladies and gentlemen, super excited for this next interview. BMX Hall of Fame legend, Harry Leary. I love this dude since I was a kid, love him to this day. He couldn't be any cooler. Let's look first, before we go into this interview, at the infamous Leary move. That's Harry Leary right there. Yeah, there was a little band, little rock band that decided to steal that move for their T-shirt. You might have known about that little rock band. Yeah, they were called Guns N' Roses. There you go, putting the Leary on their shirt. And with that, let's go to the interview with James Curl, myself, and Harry Leary.
Hey, Harry, how are you? Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I was a humongous fan of yours back in the
right
day.
On, dude. I put a hat on to keep the glow off the top of my head. I hope that's all right.
Oh, man.
I've done that too.
I love it.
We talked to Eddie Fiola, and I had posters of you all over my bedroom walls, man.
Oh, right on. Eddie's a pretty bad dude, isn't he?
Yeah.
Even to this day. You
can feel it. You guys are still, there's something that radiates off. There's an outlawness that's still radiating off you guys. It's pretty cool, man.
You have to, man. It's like you got to roll in with an attitude, and then when you go outside the gates, you like resume your normal criminal activities.
Man, I mean, you had to be an assassin mentality when you were. I watched you at Howell. That's why we talked, James. I had seen him at Howell, New Jersey. My BMX park that we just roll with, like you say, boom boxes, some metal, and just watch these guys race ourselves. And you look like an assassin out there. It had to be an assassin mentality.
Well, I have said from day one, and I still say it today, you got to hate them to beat them. I didn't want to like anybody, man. I didn't want to go into a turn and thought, oh, that's my buddy, and I probably shouldn't put him over the corner, but for $300, for $50, he's going to get dirty.
Oh man, I love it.
He's going to get dirty.
That's great.
And you grew up in Lynchwood, California. Is that where you grew up?
I was born in Linwood, but I grew up in West Covina. I went through all the school districts there and graduated West Covina High in 1977.
Wow. What a cool time to be going to high school, man. Super cool.
Yeah, I mean, I should have played some school sports, but I loved my bike so much, and I didn't get involved with school sports at all, dude. When the bell rang, I was on my bike in the hills, racing down fire roads.
I think that's similar to like metal guys that, I mean, I had nothing. I didn't go to parties, just played metal and went into like my metal contingent. Like, I mean, we did BMX and then I switched to metal, but it was the same thing. That's why BMX and metal are so intertwined, I think, the mentality.
And I use a lot of metal music to get me motivated when I train. And so absolutely.
Man. What was your soundtrack then and what's your soundtrack now?
About the same. The same.
Okay,
so I started out with Kiss,
Gateway drug, as my buddy Dean Del Rey says, the gateway drug.
I mean, I started there, and then I had guys in high school convince me Zeppelin was better, and it took them many years to convince me. But so I switched over and still listen, Aerosmith, Queen. Oh my God, it goes on and on. I've seen Ozzy in concert, but with Ronnie James Dio. I saw Queen. Even a rock glamour band called Angel way back in the day.
Yeah. Angel, the pre to Kiss, all the white stuff. On
so
Casablanca.
I saw them one time. I tried, and I saw Van Halen with David Lee Roth, but to this day, I mean, I get made of fun. People make fun of me because I like Nickelback.
I get it. They rock, man.
Dude, I love bands that tell stories with emotion. I love to listen to stuff like that. And for me, at certain times of the day or whatever, that stuff works for me. Aerosmith, love Aerosmith. Creed, Stained. I'm into Stained right now.
That's awesome.
I just started listening to Disturbed. And Metallica, obviously. I wasn't into Metallica when they're super fast and aggressive. Right. I haven't. And I think it's just because I haven't taken the time to listen to it, to get into it. You know what I mean? I just go with my staple stuff, but Disturbed has got me. I'm listening to Disturbed. And honestly, dude, I've never been a rap guy ever.
Right.
And I don't mean that in a negative kind of way. I just never bought into it. But, you know, Eminem, you know, he's a good poet. He writes good words and he tells good stories. And so I kind of like that a little bit, you know, it depends on what I'm doing.
I love it.
I do a lot of road riding on my BMX bike. I never ride anything but my BMX bike on the road. And I do 15 to 20 miles every single day on my BMX bike.
Man.
Yeah.
James,
what was your training regiment like back in the day?
Actually, back in the day, a lot less than what I'm doing now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was back in the day, it was just, you know, ride your bike, go to the track, do gates. You know, then in 86, 87, 88, when Greg Hill, you know, he was taking pictures, lifting weights, and I thought, oh, shit. And then he started to go fast and stuff. And I thought, okay, well, we better get our ass into the gym. So can we cuss on here?
Yeah, of course. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, good. Good, man. Because
he's all in now.
Yeah,
I'm in, man. Fuck that. Let's do it.
Yeah. James, you had some other really good questions relating to rock and stuff, man.
Oh, I wanted to know about your, when I was growing up, we knew you as Turbo and Scary Harry Leary. I remember that vividly. And your famous jump, the look back. We call it the look back, but from what I understand, there's been several different names, right?
Don't ever call it look back. I will find you, hunt you down like the dog you are. No, it's called a Leary.
The Leary. Well, yeah, I was going there.
Leary, yeah.
we call it the Leary, but then my friend kept saying, no, it's a look back. It's a look back. And, but that was your signature move, right?
Yes, sir. Yep. And I developed that because of Greg Hill. He was younger, and there was one track in Orange County, and he was such a little shit. He'd go by and kick your bike, and then he'd want you to chase him around the track, right? Well, he would be sitting on this tabletop jump, and I would try to kick the back wheel out to knock his visor off. Well, he got wise to it, so I started moving further and further away from him and throwing the bike further and further out away from me until I could clip his visor. So that's how I developed the full whip and wheel spin. Yeah.
I had a friend named Mike Jones. He's still my friend, my best friend. He had that jump down perfectly.
But jumping Jones, the guy that jumped?
No, just my friend Mike. I grew up with in high school and elementary school. Okay. He had that jump down perfect. It was unbelievable. Yeah,
it's people think they call it a look back because they think you are the bike isn't getting flicked fully sideways. But when you jump, you flick it fully sideways, so it's not really a look back, you know. And so, at the skate parks, a turn down, even though it looks the same, it is kind of a turn down because they jump straight up and then they turn, you know, the handlebars and they're looking down. So it is a little bit different, but it's still the same look, you know.
Sure.
But so where'd you race at, man? Where'd you grow up?
Me, I grew up in Jersey. Oh, did you grow up? Did you race, James?
No, I did. No, not really. No, I was into more of the ramps and freestyle. And I had 2 half pipes in my backyard. All my friends would come over and we all day long, you know. That's
you were one of those guys.
Yeah, I was riding ramps.
Yeah.
And I used to go to a place, I can't remember the name of it now. My friend Chris Gentilella, he used to race dirt track and he took me to the races, probably half a dozen times. His dad owned the Chula Vista Swing Shop in San Diego. So we used to go there all the time. And I can't remember. I want to say it was called Rancho or something.
Yeah, Rancho San Diego, downhill track.
Yeah, okay, that's it. Yeah, I used to go there all the time.
Great track. It was so freaking fun, man. Yeah. So freaking fun. So fast. Yeah. I love that place.
I raced at Bicycle World where the War of the Stars was held. We drive because BMX was just freedom as a fucking kid, man. It was just freedom. We were just a pack of little outlaws. We drive up there, you know, when you guys came, it was like Christmas. But I remember I didn't want to do tricks because, I didn't do sports. I mean, I could have done sports, but it wasn't outlaw enough. And you could get a trophy that day in BMX.
Yeah.
And just that feeling of riders against the gate, that rush when that fucking gate went down on Sunday. We would race every Sunday at Howell. That fucking rush, that outlawness, and just... Oh man, you know what I mean?
I do. I think that's my favorite part of the whole sport is getting the butterflies and, like you said, rolling down into the gate when, you know, as they say, and it's a cliche, when the gate drops, the bullshit stops. but it is so true, man. I mean, because it's a fight, you got to be like the aggressor, and you got, if you want, you got to take it. It's kind of like basic primal instincts, I guess.
Yeah. And I guess that all my friends at Tricked, their thing was to get height. And when you have that, it actually reminds me of going on stage in a band, like that moment when I love band videos before they go on stage, that moment before, and you're against the gate, rider's ready to, and it just drops. And you got to stay low while other guys, and just that first tabletop at Howell, when it felt like storming the beach at Normandy. It reminded me of what war is like. God, bodies are hitting the ground, and then it thins out by the end. It's a fucking fight.
Dude, I'm going to use that analogy in my head. It's like I'm going to take the beach from these sons of bitches.
That's what it is. It's like storming the beach. Those first guys are down. You're just taking the beach, and that's what watching you, like that guy. It's not about, for me, it wasn't about the half pipe. I'm going to stay low and just feel the inside. You know what I mean?
Take the biggest trophy home.
Man, what was that like being so famous at such a young age? How did you keep it together, and how are you still here?
I think, well, for me, I just wanted to be in the magazines.
I mean, just kind of be, I mean, do you walk your friends into 7-Eleven, there you are. What is that like? How old were you when that was happening?
I was 20. When I started getting on the covers, and I've been on the cover 37 times around the world and stuff. So, I think my parents, both my mom and dad, they've only seen me race once in 48 years that I have raced. My dad took me to one race. Okay. That was it. So for me, most of what kids do nowadays, I believe that their parents force feed it to them too much, back.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they just, when they get a reason or something else to go do, they get out because they're tired of being pushed and, hounded all the time. And that was never for me. I mean, my dad bought my very first bike, and very first day on it, I went out and crashed it and wrecked it. He took it away from me, and that was the last bike he ever bought for me. I bought all my own bikes, and then I got sponsored, and then I earned all my bikes. And so for me, I appreciated the racing and the training and doing well for my sponsors. And to this day, I still have a full factory ride. I still race. I train every day. Actually, I'm sitting in my truck at my racetrack. I run a BMX track in Kingman, Arizona, and I just finished running a race. We had 11 motos today, and so I'm still in it. And I teach clinics. I teach kids how to ride. And which is really cool, because then you can see them every week, and they're so proud of when they get the trophy. Just kind of like what you were just saying, they get their trophy and they're so proud. Their parents are happy, and it's a great sport for kids. It just really is in general,
Sure. Yeah. It's and that you wrote this template you guys wrote the template for us. It reminds me of speed metal. I said this to Eddie. Like, you're writing this thing that doesn't exist, just like speed metal. I mean, bicycling exists, just like punk exists for them, but you're writing a template for us guys. What was that like, writing that template? You really, truly wrote it. Like guys like you, Stu Thompson, writing it, man.
Never really thought of it that way, because at the time we were just doing what we love to do, guys that learn how to play guitars.
And Eddie Van Halen. Well, no, not guys like Eddie Van Halen. Let's put you with Eddie Van Halen. Guys like Eddie Van Halen that are writing a template, and Megadeth, Metallica. So there we go. Let's put it.
Yeah, and we were good because we each had each other to hate.
Love it. Love it.
I hate, now, and here's where it's kind of cool for me is now we're super good friends. And I see where, I never went to war. I was never in the Marines or the war, or I never had military friends that you took a bullet for or whatever, but we still fought every single weekend to make a paycheck to pay our bills. And, we got in fights quite a few times. I got suspended quite a few times for fighting, because that's the only way you can create an area around yourself that you don't want people to get to invade your space on the track. So somebody comes in and cleans you out, you go find them at the finish line and you give them a 5-finger discount. And so
That's why I love hockey. Hockey's the only thing left in me.
I know, right? I don't know. We never thought of it as we were doing it, obviously, but I go to the races still, and a lot of the riders that are pros now, I trained when they were kids, and it's more, I think, now going full circle, running a track. It's really cool to be able to give back to, pretty much everybody here today wasn't even born. Half the parents weren't even born when I started racing BMX back in 1973. So, and I don't talk about my story, here. Right. I just kind of do my thing. But, I'm blessed. God has blessed me.
Sure.
Man.
Did you get to tour the world back in the day? Did you?
Yeah, we did, man. We were the top 10, 12 pros were flown to England by Kellogg's for 4 years in a row. We did a television series. And so if you go on YouTube and you look up Kellogg's series, there'll be all kinds of footage of me and, Stu and Greg and Clint Miller and all the guys that did that. And we went to Bercy, France 5 times and raced inside Bercy, the stadium. And, we've been, I've been blessed. I've been everywhere, every state, raced in every state in the United States. And, and I never had to pay for it. I had to earn it.
Sure.
and continue to earn it, but I never had to pay for it, which,
I love the idea of carving out your own space, because it's weird. I played in bands my whole life, and I love my parents, but they've only been at 2 or 3 shows, because I think you need some world that you're, especially I feel the outlaw like energy that you need, that your own space, man. You need it in BMX, that we could ride somewhere. We didn't need cars or adults, and just it probably saved us. It probably saved us some. I mean, we still got into trouble out there, but it probably saved us from real trouble.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I know for a fact, if I wasn't a pro and had to, maintain, some sort of professionalism, that who knows, and I was, I've been around metal all my life. I have some very, very talented guitar players, Maury Abbott, and, just some really good guys that just never got the break. You know what I mean? Right. And so there's a lot of talented racers that you just don't get that shot to be on a team. And so we had, live music in the garage in our party house all the time. We threw a party on New Year's one night, and we sold tickets. We built a stage. We made homemade pyrotechnics. I'm running the light switch. We made, this huge board with light switches and gunpowder and all. We singed everybody's hair on stage, and we sold out the backyard, and we had 3 helicopters, cop helicopters, and 12 cars.
I know, yeah, that's what it's about.
Come and shut us down, and we brought the party inside, and everybody got laid.
It's funny that you talk about guys that didn't, because it's a sad story, but I had a friend years back in the height of all our local bands in LA that committed suicide. At the end of his suicide note, he wrote, "Britt, the band will make it." And when we didn't make it, I felt sad. But then we started doing these reunion shows, and I started realizing all these kids were born out of those friendships, and that we're still together, and that this whole, even the people here watching this are people from those years. And you go, wait, we did make it. It's what you define making it as.
Very true. Very true. I mean, what is making it within your own, self-perception? So, but, Jamie Balbrea, this Maury Abbott guy, these guys were so good and still are to this day. They send me their stuff all the time. And it's just, I love to listen to guitar players play, because they are so talented in what they can do, and what they can make that thing sound like. And we were talking today. What do you think about the Slash BMX connection? Because I feel like his BMX, I've read so many biographies, met him, and I think that outlaw BMX, you see when he does the jump, what kid he was on the track. And you know what kid he is when he was in Guns N' Roses, What do you think of that? And James found something you got to ask Eddie about in a minute too about that. But what do you think of that? For me, I don't know if you know, but they used one of my pictures.
That's what James found. Oh my God, dude.
Leary actually sent it to me.
your picture.
Yeah, I sent it to him. I go, because I thought we could have like a little topic, and I want to meet Slash. I mean, he took my picture, put it on a tour shirt. I would just like to have a photo with the guy, holding up the shirt or whatever. But and I know I heard the story he rode. There's some video of some guy giving him a Diamondback bicycle at his house, and so I know he was a Diamondback guy way back in the day. And to me, it was so cool to see that shirt. To me, that was like,
oh my God,
that's better than winning any race anywhere. Doesn't matter, dude. Because I mean, it's freaking Guns N' Roses, and I mean, come on.
I'm gonna work on that for you. I think I have a few things. I have a few things. I'm gonna our news guy on the show is Slash's dad's best friend. And he also knows Slash, but Slash and him are real tight. So we'll try to make something happen, man.
Yeah, it'd be just cool to shake his hand and have a picture with the shirt or something. I don't know, whatever. But and if you see him, tell him thank you for using my photo.
That's awesome, man.
Just pure up, right on, dude. That's just fucking cool.
So, Harry, I wanted to say you were the first guy to have a signatured bicycle.
Yes, sir.
True? The Turbo. I remember.
Yeah. I mean, there was a PK, the PK Ripper, probably. But I think the Turbo was the first super, super high quality bike out of Japan. And so I got the nickname and at a race in Pittsburgh. And so they started building bikes in Japan. And the thing is, it's worth, like, I have one that's these people built for me in Australia that's worth probably $10,000.
Oh, that's another thing we talked to Eddie Fiola about, was the price of these bikes now, from the vintage stuff from the 70s and 80s. I can't find a vintage bike for less than $5,000 now. And back in the day, I could build one for about $300.
And everybody knows what they have. You could be walking down the street and see an old Schwinn. I think, I might be able to get that for $50. Fuck no. That dude knows what he has. He got a 500.
Frame is $500 now.
Exactly.
$1,000. I see quad angle frames for $2,500 from the 80s.
Those days are gone forever, man.
What do you think? Because now that you say this, it's funny because I have my original PK and I bought a Mike Buff because it just reminds me of Eddie Van Halen's guitar, all the mishmash. And I took my nephew riding in Oakland, and we started getting some, you realize PKs are like gold in urban places. Like, and we're getting like, this is like having crazy sneakers. You're like, what do you think? And I'm like, we better hurry. A PK rip. Everybody calling us to stop. Like, this isn't good. This is like, we shouldn't have taken the vintage PK out here. But what do you think of that urban influence of BMX that's just taken over in the outlaw in the urban centers?
I think it's great for the sport.
Yeah.
I think it is really great for, SE is really behind that whole urban movement. Todd Lyons is the product manager there, and he's really supportive, and it's great. I mean, these rides that these guys do in downtown Los Angeles, the 4130 subway ride that's on a Saturday night, it's hardcore. You know, we were, and I don't mean, again, I'm not like slamming somebody, but we would take 300 guys down Skid Row, and instead of saying bunny hop, it would call bummy hops.
Oh my God.
They're bunny hopping over the people sleeping on the streets. You know what I mean? And so that was a little over the top. For me, you know what I mean? But still, it's hardcore.
Yeah.
And you can't go out on a PK Ripper unless you got a good pair of sprint legs under you.
And the other one I wanted to ask you about, this is something that, like, when I take my mom to the Foster's Freeze to get an ice cream or something, I'm 51, and we're sitting there, and three little dudes pull up in the vans on all the different bikes. My heart just races. My mom goes, "There goes your heart." Just that parking lots and BMX bikes have not changed. What do you feel when you see that? That's something you pretty much invented with a few other dudes. Like, what does that do for you?
Makes me feel old. Fucking A. I'm 61. You know what I mean? You're what? You just said you're 51. And I started when I was 11. Yeah. And you're right. I mean, if you can get real nostalgic, and I can sit back and go, God, and And I sometimes think that way when I go to a race, thinking, God, what would have happened if there wasn't myself or a Stu or a Greg or a Clint or all these guys? And then, but you got to also come back to the sanctioning bodies that started the organizing the races. Ernie Alexander with the NBA and you know, the ABA got going. And so without all of that, there would be none of me, you know, the organized events. And, you know, just like the promoters in music, you know, without them, the talent has no place to perform.
Yeah.
And same for us. And it gave us a reason to not be stupid, you know, and, you know, because you get a sponsor, you can't go fuck it all up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a
How
young
great
age
was it to be inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Better now than then for me, because it happened. I was inducted with Stu in 1986 in Oklahoma, but it's better now, you know, because it kind of really, because the sport is an Olympic sport now. Mm-hmm. And a lot of what is going on, like we were already talking a little bit, kind of started with us. And so being inducted in 86, it was so, the sport was still so infantile, I think, compared to where it is today. But now I think to me, it means a lot more to me now than it did when it happened.
Right.
You never, What were you going to say, James?
Oh, nothing. I'm fine.
No, you never know. When you're younger, you realize you never know when you're in a moment. As you get older, and that's why I don't think we're that old. You look at a Springsteen at 75 and he's killing it. We should all look, anytime you think you're old, go look at Springsteen. You know what I mean?
Or one of the Stones.
Yeah. So let's look at that. I always say you're never going to be as young as you are now. So, but dude, you're a big kid. I can feel it. We're all here talking heavy metal and Dio, you know, heavy metal, BMX, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And when we're done, I'm going to go practice on the track here in a little bit.
I mean, my buddy always says the more things you give up that you liked as a kid, the more miserable you get. I really believe it's true. It's so true.
Absolutely, man.
You know,
absolutely.
You know, and that's why the age thing. What I love about BMX, I see buddies and their daughters and their sons. I love that there's just this common bond in BMX. It's one of the few things that can bring a few generations together. And it's because whereas music, kids like to separate, but I don't think with BMX they need to separate from older people as much.
That's a great analogy right there. And I hear it and feel it and see it happening, because a dad will come up to me who's 41 or 51 or whatever. And he goes, yeah, I used to race. And, you know, same thing that you're saying. I used to race and I got my daughter into it. And she knows all about you, that you were on my wall and you were my favorite and blah, all these things. And I'm signing an autograph for his daughter who, you know what I mean? And so that full circle spectrum of the sport, and that's really cool to me. You know what I mean?
I get it. Because it's you can call it a sport, but it's also a lifestyle like heavy metal. It's somewhere between the football team and heavy metal. It kind of leans in it. You know, I mean, that's why we're here. That's why BMX is part of this equation for the guys like us. You know what I mean? There's an equation of arcades, BMX, heavy metal that we all, you know. I think a film like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, I don't know if it had that much BMX, but they put the equation together pretty well.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great analogy, you know. And this is what's good for me, is to like talk to people like yourselves that are so in such a different world, but yet how well it has crossed and you know, cultivated each side. I love that. You know, I've never really thought of it that way, but I love that idea. It's
funny. I could say it here. I bought my 20-inch out the other day, and the neighbors started screaming, just infuriated them. and I don't party at all, you know, but the guy said, "You're too old for that bike." The neighbor just started screaming at me, and I just yelled at him. I call it the drug dealer, and he just even went crazier. Just to make.
You're never too old for that.
No, well, I'm 20-inch. I can't not be. It's like candy to me. It's like eating Jolly Ranchers at the back of the bus when you're a kid. It's just the best. The 20-inch
Jolly Ranchers were very popular in the NBL scene back in the day.
Really? See?
Yeah. See, you got it.
There's a lineage. Jolly Ranchers, heavy metal. You know what I mean?
Well, I ride my bike every day, and I live in Lake Havasu, so you know it's a pretty it's a pretty cool town. It's built on a hill. Well, you get these people that think that you shouldn't be riding your bike in the street, and they come a little too close, or they flip you off, or they say something. They have no clue how fast I can go and for how long I can go that fast. And I always catch them at a light. And I know they're shitting a ton. I know they're shitting a brick, because I pull up alongside and I just kind of tap on the driver's window and I go, do you have something you would like to tell me? Oh, oh my God. And a couple times, you know, the guys would get out and, you know, we'd have a discussion, and they just don't understand that we have as much right away as they do. You know what I mean? And anyways, that was just, it's just fun. It's just fun to chase cars down and not do anything, you know, not do anything. Back in the day, though, my buddy and I, we would be riding at midnight or 1 a.m, and a couple, you know, carload of people that were probably partying a little bit would say something or throw something at us. We'd catch them. He'd take one side, I'd take the other, and we would dismount their mirrors.
Oh my God. Before we head out, James, I'll let you close out. Can you tell us about the Peak Performance Institute? What's going on now? And we'll put links, if you send me some links to it in the chat so people can check it out.
So the real sponsor is BioLab Sciences. Okay. So that's and then Peak Performance is a rehabilitation process for athletes who get hurt.
Okay.
BioLab Sciences is super advanced in treating injuries and promoting healing. So basically what they do, well, not basically, I won't have all the exact terms, the medical terms, but they take placentas after birth from hospitals, and they turn that into a serum, basically like a stem cell. Okay. And they can do it in a breathing treatment where they atomize it.
Excuse me for 1 second.
With an atomizer. And then you do a breathing treatment, and LeBron James and, you know, from the Lakers does it with this guy. And so they can also inject it right into a place that you had an injury. And so that's what BioLab is. And it works great for me because I have a bad back, and I had the injections in my back, and it's fixed it.
Wow, man. How did you end up there?
I was at a race, and the team was sitting in front of me, and I just saw the shirts, and I just started asking questions. And again, we got back to the full circle thing. The owner raced BMX way back in the day, and I was one of his favorite pros way back in the day, and he was honored to have me ride for the team, and I was more than honored to ride for the team. They're an amazing sponsor. This guy's an amazing guy. He does a nonprofit for youth on track. Okay. And so there's like 80 people on this team, and he does it all for the kids. But the BioLab science part of it supports everything. And they're making skin now. So like if you need a skin graft, they can grow skin and all kinds of stuff. So it's in the medical field.
That's awesome. And we'll put anything you want me to put a link in the chat, let me know. And thanks, James, for you wrap this up. Thanks for making this happen. This is huge. And let's definitely stay in touch.
I appreciate you. Thank you again for, you know, putting me on, and you know, I can't wait to send it out to all my buddies and let them know.
Thank you, Harry. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks, guys.
Have you read James's Dio book? By the way, you got to read it. It's amazing. I'll send you one. It's really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would love to.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. And we'll have to do a follow-up. This was so much fun, Harry and James.
Hey,
such a great time.
You guys are cool. You guys are cool.
Thank you.
You guys.
All right. Thank you.
Harry.
Bye.
Peace.